Hello, hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Hey, Francis,
Hello, hello.
Rosie,
Hi,
how are you guys?
I'm good, thank you.
So good to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Let me,
Me too.
yay. So, guys, we are here. This is Francis, our rhinestone queen, and Rosie, our uh, uh, what would you say,
Creative
handmade.
business coach and
Yes,
graphic designer.
yes. So we are here today to answer your questions. It's a great time to get some one-on-one sessions and learn from our amazing experts here. Uh, uh, Expert in creating rhinestone crafts and selling handmade items in bulk, especially wholesale experts. That's a wholesale expert. That's what I wanted to say. So we are here to answer your questions. You can ask for tips or whatever comes to your mind. So I'll stop talking and I will hand over the mic to our experts. So starting with Francis, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Frances Ames. I call myself the crafty entrepreneur. Uh, so I've been a cricket instructor since cricket first came out. So I've had like a ton, all the machines, pretty much. I'm shy of just three machines. The From the legacy. I used to teach in stores, at conventions, and about 2 years ago, I learned how to make rhinestone crafts, and I'm sharing all my secrets.
Yay, we love it. And we are so thankful to you because I personally absolutely love using rhinestones. And I love watching your projects, especially on Instagram. I'm always looking at what you're creating because they look so pretty. And I've been wanting to have you as a speaker for so long. And I'm so glad we are finally here
Wow.
with you. So thank you for joining, Francis. Next, let's hear from Rosie.
Hi, I'm a creative business coach based in England, and I started out as a scrapbooker years and years ago, and then I went into wedding stationery, and now I teach how to sort of start and grow a side hustle.
Awesome. Yay. Yes. Rosie is very experienced in selling wholesale items, wholesale
Yeah,
handmade items. So if you have questions, definitely this is a time to ask them because when you're making party favors, you're always creating them in bulk. You don't
yeah,
create one party favor for one person. You always have like at least 5 to 10 or more, sometimes like 30.
yeah.
So she's here to answer your questions on how to craft in bulk. So let us know where you guys are tuning in from. Let's get this chat up and running. Tell us, you can say hi in the chat, introduce yourself, where you're joining from, and then we can start taking questions. Hi, Shanna. Hi, Misfit Crafter. Hi, Barbara. Thank you all for tuning in. So let us know where you are joining from. All right.
There we go.
So Shanna is from Southern Illinois. Did I get that
Mhm.
right? IN stands for Illinois
Think so.
or
I think it's
Indiana.
Indiana, I think.
Okay, cool. So, Francis, why don't you go ahead and share some tips with us for creating rhinestone crafts for beginners, for me?
Okay. Okay. I think people are just afraid to start. That's the number one thing. They're just afraid. I say start with heat transfer vinyl and cut out your template. That'll give you a feel of how things work. And just start there, making like you can make what I call faux rhinestones. So you get like the metallic or the glitter rhinestones with the little circles. So you probably fall in love with it and then have a little bit more confidence. And I see a lot of sellers now on Amazon starting to carry these products.
Mhm.
So yeah, have fun. Have fun creating. That's a great tip to just jump
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Hmm.
Yeah, so uh, my question is okay, so let me check the chat first. So Misfit Crafter is from Vegas. And then we have Chris from North Florida, Barbara from
Nice.
California, and Jane from New
Mm.
Jersey. Yay! Awesome, guys. So let us know, what would you like to learn about rhinestone crafting or selling your products, creating party decor in bulk. So these are the questions you can ask from our experts. You can ask questions from me as well. So let us know in the comment section, or you can just ask fun questions like, what's your favorite food, or what's your favorite movie? I don't know. So whatever you want to ask, just put them in the comment section. So let me just check the Facebook group because I can't see some of the names over here. So Rosie, do you want to go ahead and share some tips?
For selling, creating in bulk.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and doing wholesale. Yeah, so if you're looking to start wholesaling, what I would suggest is to look for brands that align with your style of your products, but that have a gap in the market where your products could fit in. You always want to be aligned with other brands that suit your style. You don't want to just change your style to fit with that brand. And then you can reach out to stores, boutiques. You can always start slowly as well. You don't have to sort of try and contact big brands to start with. You can start small and just contact local boutiques just to get used to it. And yeah, just start there really. But there's so much to share. So um, but yeah, it's best to sort of start with products that you really enjoy making and that you know that you'll feel confident creating in bulk as well. And obviously making sure that the prices you're going to get a good profit margin, because that's where a lot of people get unstuck as well. Is it's exciting to get a big order, but then you end up with no profit left, and that's pretty sad when that happens. So yeah.
Completely agree with you over there, Rosie. That is
Mm.
so important to
Yeah.
calculate all, to take all the expenses into account.
And time as well, time especially,
Hmm. Yes. Thanks
because a
so
lot
much
of
for.
us a lot of us start sorry a lot of us start off as hobby crafters, and we just do it for because we enjoy it, and a lot of the time we don't really look at the profit margins. I mean, when I started out, I was just so happy to get sales.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'll make that, I'll do that, and then at the end of the day I wasn't really making any money. So yeah, it's really important to look at your numbers, and it is boring, but it's important.
I cannot stress on this point enough. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, we get so caught up in the how many sales we're getting and how many uh, dollars we are getting. We forget to do the back end calculation, like how much effort and money I've put into
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's a very important point.
yeah.
I just want to jump on something. I know there's a question up here, but I do want to add something to that. For
Sure, go
me,
ahead.
because it's related to rhinestone business, when
Hmm.
I first started trying to figure out how to level and doing wholesale and things like that, I actually talked to people who've been in the business longer than I have, who actually had a
Mm,
shop. And some of them says, I can sell you the template on how I calculate it. I mean, it was really that was surprised at how many people, successful businesses, were willing to take the time to talk to
yeah,
me. I says, look, I wanted to talk to the business owner. I'm a fellow business owner in the area. I have some questions for them. This is not a sales call. I'm actually interested in doing it. And usually I'll pick some other state. So right now I'm in Delaware, and I'll pick Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Maryland, because those are close, states close to where I live. So they feel
Mhm.
like, okay, well, that's a different state, different market. So they don't feel like competition, that much
Yeah.
competition. And they gave me the tea. Okay. They gave me the tea more so than the people online,
Oh,
because when I first started trying to figure out how to do crafting business, YouTube was just starting. So there wasn't too much going on. You had to go to blogs to
yeah.
find information and chat groups and things like that. As far as the best way to start making rhinestone designs. Okay, so that's a little bit different. So I call rhinestone designs, you can get an SVG file or a PNG file and then load it up to your Cricut machine or your Silhouette and then start cutting. But if you're asking how do you actually create it, there's a couple of softwares that you can use from scratch. If you're asking if that's your question, I've made rhinestone designs. I started out using with shortcuts a lot, and that allowed me to do it. And there's a new version that came out, so that was very affordable. That was like $60. Silhouette Business Edition, I find it even easier. So I've been playing with that one as well. And usually what I'll do is I'll upload my design from Shortcuts a lot into Silhouette and save a Silhouette, file for my Silhouette users. But I find it sometimes it's easier. So I'll go back and forth between the two. I've played with Inkscape, but I find that a little bit trickier and harder. I know Inkscape is
I used to
free.
use that. Yeah.
Yeah, just to make the rhinestones, that was a little bit trickier and harder. I felt like longer um learning curve for me
Mm.
when I started learning. So I would say now, if I had to advise someone to start making rhinestone designs from scratch without like having any like artistic ability and things like that, I would say try Silhouette Studios business edition, because that allow you to save the files and transport it into for Cricut, for Silhouette, PNGs, things like that. I hope that answered your
Awesome.
question.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So lots of options for you guys to create your designs. Thank you. Thank you, Francis.
Mhm.
Let's see what's the next question. How long did it take for you to start up your business? So I think it's for all of us. I'll go first. So I've been doing this since 2013. So it's been like, I don't know, 10 years. And the first year that I started, I just made $50. And after the second year, I made $500 annual. The whole annual income was $500. And then I made around $3,000. And slowly and gradually, I'm now in a place where I'm making much more than I had ever imagined. But it takes time. It's been like 10 years and I've been doing it part time. And slowly and gradually, you build it up one step at a time. And yeah, you keep on growing, you keep on pushing.
Mm.
So it takes time. Francis, why don't you go ahead and share your story?
Sure. I started in 2018. Just from I used to be a scrapbooker. I used to do mini albums, layouts, cards, things like that. And then when Cricut came out, like, oh my goodness, that took it to another level because I could make all kinds of embellishments and flowers and whatnot. But how it started out of a necessity, believe it or not. I became disabled. I couldn't walk. And I knew I had to do something with my time. And I learned that paper crafting allowed me to kind of distract myself. And I feel like, great, let me do this. And the only thing I knew, I didn't know how to do a website or anything like that. I did go to the library and I borrowed a book on how to start a business. And it turns out it was free in my state. At the time I was living in Pennsylvania. So I started a business, got my, business license, sales, resale license, all that free. Yes, that's right, free. And then, so I was able to start ordering bulk items, so I can keep my costs down. And the only site I knew on how to sell was eBay. I don't know if Etsy was around. I never heard of Etsy until like a couple of years later. And I just started selling on eBay. So everything was done from my home. So yes, virtually now after COVID, everybody's learning how to do this from home. But before I was literally ordering my supplies. I would have the post office pick up my orders for shipping. I would print out my labels at home. So I learned how to do all of that in 2018. And again, I was very happy. Some stuff was very profitable, some stuff wasn't. I would get rid of like old crafting supplies, and then I started going to craft fairs, and that's when I started being a little bit more serious with my cards and making it in bulk and selling, to the point I couldn't keep up with it. It was just the demand for my products was too great for my time. So I knew I had to change, and that's when I started teaching.
Awesome. I love that. That's such an inspirational story. And we do have follow-up questions for you. We'll take in a minute, but let's hear from Rosey.
Yeah, well, I started it was around 2008, so quite a long time ago. And I was working as a dental nurse at the time. And I was really into scrapbooking because scrapbooking had come over from America. It was sort of suddenly popular in the UK. So I enjoyed doing that. And then I thought, I was so desperate to get out of my dental nurse job because it was so boring. And I thought, what can I do? So I decided to start offering personalised scrapbooks for people. So they'd pay me to make their own scrapbooks. And then Etsy came along. So I thought, oh, I'll try that out. And then I started to sell mini scrapbooks on there. And then I started to get inquiries for wedding invitations in the same style. And that's how I got into wedding stationery. And then I sort of, I started blogging around that time. And then I got contacted by Anthropology. And that's when I started to do wholesale. So it was quite a big sort of jump. And that's when I had to get help because I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to fulfill this order. So I got like a mentor, and he helped me to sort of figure out how to process it all and hire people and how to ship it and everything else. So, but I was really nervous to ask for help because I tried places online where you can get investment and stuff because I didn't have the money to do it all myself. And no one wanted to know. So I just had to reach out to someone that I knew who was a businessman in the area. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'll help you. Obviously, we split the costs. And then I got into wholesale that way. But it took me a good sort of 3 years to actually get to the point where I was making any proper sort of profit. So it was a real roller coaster to start with. So it took me a while and a lot of learning. I learned a lot of mistakes. So
Cool. That is so interesting. And I'm so glad that we have someone here who has the hands-on experience in going from selling in small quantity to selling in bulk, because a lot of crafters come to this point and in their business timeline, and there's barely any help available. So I'm so glad, Rosey, you're here and you can help us out with those questions. So thanks for sharing that. Next question is, are there any tools to assist with working with mobility issues?
Yes. There's always if there's a will, there's a way. And Amazon was my friend. I found all kinds of interesting tools. So it depends on what type of mobility you have. Like right now I have back injury. I have a back injury and I've had multiple surgeries. So I know that I have only a few hours a day, like 4 hours of good quality time where I can sit. I have to stand. I have to sit, stand, move. So it's kind of broken into throughout the day. And so I have a desk that goes up and down. I make sure I have everything that I need, water close by. As far as other mobility issues, if you're going to craft fairs, I would tell you do not do it alone. Okay. And I did that for a while. To build up my name and to sell in bulk, like I like to sell like big boxes, of, I don't know, 24 cards or, whole, especially around holidays, I would sell like a kit of 20 similar holiday cards. That was a little different. So I would go to craft fairs just so I can get orders. And I'm telling you, I didn't even need a website because it was a lot of word of mouth at that point. But I had to start in the beginning I did go to craft fairs, not right away because I couldn't leave the house very comfortably. I was, my first year I couldn't. Everything had to be through the internet. I had to order my supplies, have it shipped to my home. And then I had a husband who would help me, you know, carry the boxes and things like that. And I had a box on the floor next to my desk. When I finished, you know, taking pictures and things like that, I did it all sitting down because at the time I couldn't walk. And then I would put it in the box and, you know, for shipping if I needed to ship it, or I would put labels so I know, organize my cards by, you know, themes. So the bottom line is, what is it that you need? What type of mobility do you need? Carts, yes. Help, you gotta think about that and put the price of that in. I would say price your stuff knowing that you're gonna need help. So that way when you grow, it's already factored in there. So that's an advice that I would give to you if I had to redo everything, you know. So you know, and how much is the craft fair? Is it $40, $60? And then talk to someone, a family or friend, and say, look, I need help with the craft fair. Could you help me? And I had a wagon, little red wagon. I put all my stuff in there. I like to do early on. Now we're in March. Now I start looking at tents for craft fairs. The more it goes into the summer, the higher the price goes. So right now you probably can get one for like $75, a decent one. I'm not talking about a cheapy one for $50 because it'll fly away. Get one that's good quality. I like to put only two panels for those tents because they tend to fly away when you put like the air pressure if it's a windy day. Just saying, and always have weights. Always have weights. So have help. Get quality tools that will help you produce and figure out a way. So that's what I'm saying. Figure out a way. What is it in the mobility that you have trouble with? Is it standing? Is it sitting? Is it lifting? What exactly is that? Is it communication? Maybe you need a tablet to communicate. So figure out a way how to make that happen. And then the internet, now with YouTube, you could find out anything on YouTube. So definitely, if there's a will, there's a way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that in detail. That was, I'm sure, very, very helpful for a lot of people here. We do have a follow-up question for Rosey. Do we have to come up with the money to ship? How do we do that? And what all did you guys have to start out with by getting your business going?
Yeah, well, for me, with the large wholesale orders, I would incorporate the cost of shipping into my price. So the wholesaler didn't pay me for my shipping. I had to pay for that myself. So I just made sure that everything was covered within the price of the product, the price that they paid me for each item. So you have to make sure you calculate everything really carefully. So yeah, they didn't pay the shipping.
So how did you come up with the money to ship it?
How did I come up with the money? Well, I was lucky that I had a business partner that was able to pay for the ship. He paid for everything, for the processing, paying for the staff and the shipping. Obviously, we both paid for it because at the time when I started wholesaling the big orders, I was not in a good financial position at all. So that's why I did have to ask for help. And luckily for me, I found someone. But if you have access to funds through credit cards and things like that, obviously you can do that because you will get the money back once the order obviously is shipped. And then sometimes they wait up to 90 days to pay you. So there is that to it. But yeah, if you can find someone to partner with, if you don't have the funds, or if there's a way you can access funds another way. But yeah, they didn't pay me in advance. It's not like Etsy or something like that where you get paid and then you produce the product and ship it. You have to pay for it all first. So, but it depends. I mean, some smaller boutiques, they'll pay for, if you're doing a smaller amount, they'll pay for it and then you can ship it. It just all depends on who you're working with.
Awesome.
Did that answer the question? Okay.
How did you ship it? How did you do that? Okay, for me, when I started, I used through PayPal because it allows me to offer, shipping with it. So they would pay me, let's say $20, included in the price of the item I had shipping, or I would have it separate, and they're kind of used to that. Same thing you can do with Etsy, allows you to do that, to create labels. So you're actually using the customer funds to ship. You do need a digital scale. That's a must. And I know Shopify allows you to do that. Etsy allows you to do that. PayPal. There's another website I use for my big bulkier items, like if you're buying huge box items, called Pirate Ship, like an actual pirate, like, pirate ship. And that works with all the majors like UPS, Post Office, FedEx, all of them. And you can check out prices to figure out into your pricing. So I would look at, if I'm shipping, let's say I'm in Delaware and I'm shipping to Alaska, how much that would cost. And I would put that price into the cost of my good.
Awesome. That's a great tip. Make sure you guys write that down. And even if you're watching, if you missed some part, you can go back and watch the replay, because our experts are dropping some big gold nuggets here. So make sure you're taking notes. Rosey, would you like to go for that question as well? What all do you guys have to start out with by getting your business going?
Oh, okay. To get it going. Well, because I started quite small and I was doing mainly wedding stationery, to get it going, I actually was on Etsy. So, and I was quite lucky because it was when Etsy had just sort of come along, and there wasn't millions and millions of sellers on there then. And I really focused on creating unique products that not everyone else was doing as well, to try and stand out. And I was blogging as well. And I think nowadays that would probably be more doing social media. And I just got it out there. I didn't sort of get too critical with what I was creating. I just got it out there. And if you get your work out there, a lot of people are too nervous to share their work. But you just share your work, and that gives you the confidence. Once you start to get customers, then it gives you that boost to keep going. So yeah, I just started out really. I didn't set up a business or anything like that. I just did it as like a sole trader. In England, it's sort of self-employed. So I didn't have a limited company or anything like that. I just registered as self-employed, and I was also working at the same time. Yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes.
Let me know
Well,
if you want more specifics.
So I think that it does. She said it sounds good, and thank you for the good information.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
Next question is from Lula. Are all the stores 90 days to payment, or are they all different?
They're all different. I did also wholesale to a lot of smaller boutiques, and they would pay for, usually it was smaller orders, say for 50 items, and they'd pay me up front. Some stores like to do a commission base where you put your products in their store, and then when they sell, you get paid. But I preferred to do that with more local stores rather than stores that I didn't know, because you're handing over your products and you're not getting paid until they sell. So yeah, they're all different, but a lot of them, they did pay up front. So you didn't need to worry about how to cover the cost of making the products and shipping them. It's more the much larger brands that do the sort of 30 to 90-day payments after it's arrived with them.
Mm-hmm. And you set your terms. This is your business. If you want to get paid within 30 days and put 30 days and add like fees for late payments, or 60 days. So think about that. This is your business. You get to decide with who you want to work with. You don't have to, it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no and set the standard. And I know with some payment processing, sometimes, like I know PayPal, if that's the way you take payments, sometimes they hold your payment when you're new, especially a new account. So think about that. Make sure you have a few dollars in there, like $40 that you have access to for shipping and supplies as you get started. I would say you should start with at least $100 in the account, and keep it
Yeah,
separate. That helps for tax time.
that's a good point.
Until you start getting your cash flow. And yes, there's going to be peaks and valleys in your business. That doesn't mean it's not working. Just be patient with the process.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the advice, guys. That was so useful and so informative. Next question is any suggestions on figuring out what will sell or being ahead of trends? So I want to take a dig at that first. The secret to making sure that something sells is how you market your product. Like you gotta figure out what does your customer really want, what are they struggling with. For example, if you're selling gifts and let's say if you're selling let's talk about party decor, right? So a lot of people don't have cricket and they want to throw a custom party for their kids. So that's their problem, they cannot make the decor on their own. So you gotta tell them when they're reaching out to you or in your product listing, you gotta specifically hit on that point. Like, okay, I am here to help you throw that party that you so want, customized to your needs the way you want it, and you gotta sell it in the description. Like you're going to provide the custom decor, this will help them, you're going to curate the products based on the color, based on the theme, and they don't have to lift a finger, you're going to make everything and you're going to send it out to them. So it's how you market your product and how niche you are. And a lot of people, when they start selling everything. They will sell I don't know, they will sell iPad covers or laptop covers, and on the side they're also selling uh, tumbler covers and whatnot. Like everything is in one shop, in the t-shirts, and like literally one item of each. You gotta focus on one thing. So what is your expertise? Like for example, when you are doing tumbler crafts and also you're also selling t-shirt crafts, so both of these things require different set of strategies. So if you are doing tumbler and if you just focus on tumbler, you'll see that it's easier to stand out in the crowd if you're just focusing on one specific tumbler. I mean, just the tumblers. And also, you'll get faster at creating that tumbler because you're just focusing on creating tumblers in bulk. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. But if you keep on switching your products and you keep on switching your strategy, it'll be very hard to streamline it. So that's my input. What do you guys think?
I agree. I really agree. And you really need to not be afraid to niche down, like you say, and really hone your craft, really get good at what you do, and try to find your own style, definitely. And one thing you can try places like E-Rank, and there's another one where you can see what the trends are. But I tend to not really look at the trends, really. Well, when I was creating handmade crafts, one thing I did used to do, I'd always look at what America was doing, because everything America did was always like 2-3 steps ahead. And their designs have always been, in my opinion, ahead of ours. So I would see what they were doing, what was popular there, and then I'd know that would probably come over here at some point as well. But I was lucky in that sense. But yeah, I think if there are ways to find out if there's demand for what you're creating, but try to create it your own way and make it unique to you and create good quality products. That's important as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I really love the device that you guys are giving. I do being homebody, I had to do a lot of research on the computer. So, I would use Google Trends. On Etsy, I would use eRank. There's also Everbee for Etsy, YouTube Buddy, because if people are searching what they need, how to, and then fill in the blank, right? So what is it? If you just type in how to on YouTube, it's going to tell you the most popular search. So that gives you cues on what's people are looking for. Find that pain point. Find that pain point. And you can kind of see also what's very, very popular. For example, like the Barbie movie here. Oh my goodness, you could not find pink t-shirts in Michael's, okay? It was like selling out, right? And it's short, it's a short term, but if you want a business that's long term, niching down makes difference, because now you can buy in bulk, in wholesale, save, and lower your costs, and you can now be very competitive there too, and you become better at that one craft. So figure out what you love to do. What is it that you love to do? Who is your market? Who are the people that you know? When you needed something, what is it that you buy that you're always looking on Etsy for? That gives you a cue, that right there, because there's a pain point, right? There's something that you need. Is it temporary? Weddings are great unless you want to get into wedding business, but most people just do crafts for their wedding and then they're done. Hopefully they don't have to get married again, right? Others want to be in the wedding decor and birthday decor business. That is a business. There's always an event going on. Even in COVID, people wanted to do something personal like cake toppers, because they know that their friends couldn't be there to celebrate the birthday, so they would order this on Etsy. So that became really popular during the pandemic, right? So think about, what is that pain point? What is it that I know how to do and love to do and I'm good at? And then go from there, because that will help you niche down specifically. What is that you're always buying? If you're always buying t-shirts, maybe that's the big way to go. Vinyl has been around forever. Forever. Vinyl t-shirts, right? That's a great place to start. That doesn't mean you can never change your mind, but then figure out, what is the trends? Pantone, what are the colors of the year? You're going to see, and how do you know what the color is? It's all over the place. You're going to see it in furniture. You're going to see it in the craft stores. You're going to see it in Hobby Lobby. You're going to see it in Target. You're going to see it in Walmart. You're going to see it in all the box stores, all this, that same color or that variation of that color, right? So you know that that's a trend. And of course, holidays, that's always a trend. Mother's Day, huge sellers, Mother's Day, right? Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, you name it, whatever your holiday is. Sports is usually, some people just do sports stuff because there's always a sport in every season. So think about that. What is that niche? What is that you're passionate about? Obviously bling is, the girly girls love their bling, right? Not to say guys don't wear bling, but I know my market is going to be female. And who is the one that likes that? Maybe the mom, maybe the definitely usually the young moms. And I've seen a lot of older women too, so that's my market. And so what is it that they like to wear? Well, they're moms. So I'm going to create a design for moms. There you go.
Yes, I love that. Those are some wonderful tips. And I'm having so much fun, you guys. And love the questions that are coming in. Next question is, what advice can you give about setting prices for your products? I will let you guys have the stage on that, because I don't sell handmade products. Francis.
Oh, I was going to say Jane. Jane's the wholesaler. Go for it, girl. Pricing. What are the things that I do for pricing? Okay. So what are my costs of all the materials? Okay. Just basic costs. Is if I'm doing a tumbler, vinyl, transfer tape, right? Very basic. Then I add an overhead fee. Okay. What's an overhead fee? There's going to be stuff that I'm going to probably need to buy. Maybe I need to buy blades for my Cricut machine. Overhead. I have electricity, right? So I add an overhead, and that's usually a percentage for me. So minimum, ideally you should have 10% minimum, 20 is better. And then from there, you would do what's called a markup. Okay. And that would be, and then this is just the simplest way to do it. Then you would have your wholesale price. And then you will have, and from there you put another percentage, and there's your retail price. So you can give your customers discounts, because guess what? Worst case, you're still going to get your money back. Maybe that's the wholesale price. You already added the price of labor. You've already added the price of materials. You already added in there just in case you make a boo-boo. You know, you're not going to make a boo-boo on everything, but you're going to might make a mistake somewhere. So you need to add a little bit of cushion in your margin. That's the best way I can do it. You can look at the market. What is the market willing to pay for it? That's one way to do it, but that doesn't mean that it's profitable. That doesn't mean it's profitable. Do the math. I know you don't want to do it, but do the math. I promise you that's what's going to give you the longevity. Otherwise, you'll get burnt out and you won't love it anymore.
Yes, that is one thing that you need to understand. Burnout is real.
Yeah.
Rosey, would you like to add to that?
Also, just to make sure to look out for any unexpected expenses that might occur. I've had, errors where I've sort of underestimated shipping and things like that, or, something arrived and it was damaged, sort of materials and things, and then I've had to reorder and also watch out for potential time delays because of that. But yeah, just look out for any unexpected costs that might come along. But yeah, it was all answered really, so well covered.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I do have a follow-up
And
question.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
And just to make sure you estimate the amount of time it's going to take you to create the product as well, so that you know that you're covering your time. And one thing I did used to do as well was add on a little design fee as well. And that just acted as a buffer just to make sure I did get some profit. But that was all included in the cost. It wasn't an additional cost that I charged the customer. It was just something I added in myself just as a buffer and just to make sure I got profit. So
Yep, that's your overhead. That's your little buffer. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
You need to because it does happen. Sometimes you try to rebuy more of that same product and it's 20% more expensive now.
Yeah.
That might be that happened. I'm like, oh wow, price really went up.
So can you give us an example, a real life example with real numbers? How would you price that product and what would the final price be? And one of any of you guys?
You go.
Okay,
so a real product, so an imaginary product.
Yeah, or something you have sold from your store.
Oh gosh, it's a long time since I've been selling. So say for instance, I used to sell these things called message in a bottle love notes. That's something I wholesaled, and I think they wholesaled for about $18. No, they sold for about $18 in the store, and I think the actual cost to make them was around £7.
Mm-hmm.
So that included the materials, the time, and everything else. So a breakdown, the materials were probably about £3. This is a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember. And the time, the expenses, and the materials were covered. That was sort of the rest of the cost, and the shipping was the rest. So about £4 for all of that. So the time it took to make it, to pay people to make it. So, but that was a very large bulk order. So the profit was still quite good.
Awesome. I have a question. Like, what if you're putting together something that's taking 4 to 5 hours and hourly wage for, let's say, seamstress, because I was making handmade bags and I was selling those bags. And hourly wage for seamstresses over here in Australia is $25 per hour. And it was taking me 8 hours to put that bag together. So how do I price my product that is affordable for people, but I'm also not underpaying myself?
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do it, I don't think.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that is tricky. You have to, I mean, and that's kind of the challenge of mass produced stuff, right? When you see mass produced stuff made in, I hate to say it, in another country, China, like China, you're competing and you're like, I mean, they sell tumblers right now anywhere I go for $5 with vinyl, right? I could probably go to Walmart and find a tumbler for $7. But if I were to make it, I'm not going to charge $7. People know that handmade costs more money. They just know that, and they expect quality. So the way to reduce your cost then is either improve your process, and that's where this comes in, right? Because there was a lady I saw online that she was hand placed, and people still do that. They hand place each rhinestone, right, with glue. And they would take a 20-ounce tumbler, and I asked the lady, because she was on the live, I was like, how long does it take you to do it? She said 7 hours. Of course, now you know why tumblers cost $65 US dollars on Etsy, because it takes them 8 hours to make one product. So come Christmas, there's going to be a limit to that, right? And constantly squeezing the glue bottles, their hands going to hurt. No, I can have arthritis and still do this, okay? This is where it comes in, because this is the longest time it takes is to create the template. And really, I'm not doing anything. The machine is doing it, right? That's the longest part. Maybe weeding. So maybe you need to just little time yourself on how long that takes you. And how much would it cost to hire someone to do that for you? Now, how much I normally make, because let's say I work in an office, I make $30 an hour. I'm not going to hire someone at $30. I might hire them at $10, $15 an hour, maybe, to do that, to help me, a helper, right? An intern, maybe. So this will reduce my cost for my shirt. Okay, so something like this. Let me see. Okay, can you see it? Okay, something like this, right? The Bride Squad, very simple design. I was doing the math real quick in my head on materials. Okay, materials minimum $8.75. $3 for the shirt, $1.50 for vinyl, because it's a little bit. I use my scrap to make this. Okay, vinyl, so I don't spend a lot of money on that, and I buy in bulk too. I don't use a whole packet of rhinestones, so I have one packet. I can probably do a whole bunch of these. So I still overestimated, and I paid $4 for that. $25 for transfer tape for the rhinestone. That's where my money came, $8.75, and then triple that. So that's $18.75 per shirt. That's 3 times the cost. Okay, simple. If I had to do it really, really simple and fast, like I was on the spot. $18, right? Normally rhinestone shirts are a little bit more. They're like $35, $45. Think about this. The cost is still the same. Now, if I were to add my rhinestone template, I actually did use, believe it or not, my scrap flock to make this template as well, because that's a small print. Now, if it's a big print, and then I have to charge more, I would probably add another $7 for the flock. So that would increase my cost, but find a way to reduce your cost. And then there's buffer in there. So if you make a mistake, you're not out. You're not out. And that's minimum. But like I said, when I started really thinking about doing bulk items, I talked to real business owners, and I bought a spreadsheet that goes over how I calculated the time and overhead and all of that. So I just plug in my numbers, and it made my life so much easier. So that might be something you want to think about. Look at that. That's a price. That's a pain point. And there's lots of on Etsy and lots of these summits. People offer a spreadsheet that shows how to calculate this. That really helps. So you can get all the guesswork out of it.
Cool. And quick question. I just love that tumbler that you just showed us. Do you also sell custom made crafts? Because I really want to order one.
You want to order one? Give me your address. I'll mail you one. Definitely.
No, I'm going to place an order.
I don't sell the handmade stuff. This is where it gets funny. People call me up and tell me, hey, Frances, I want this, or send me an email. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'll give them a price and an invoice with the link, and they pay it, and then I send it. That's it. I don't even have an Etsy shop. I've tried it many, many years ago. Was not good at it. I didn't know what I was doing. But like I said, people see what I got, and then they say, oh, can I get one? Sure. And next thing you know, I'm making like 5 of them.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because I
I
stay
love it.
connected to the crafting community. If I were to really try to boost this, then I know I will be busy working full time just making products. But
True.
there comes a limit to how much you can personally make. And I'm
Mm.
saying this because I know, Job, you teach people how to make designs. So you understand the leveraging your time.
Yep.
And it came to the point where I just disappoint people. And I remember around holidays, I had to turn people away. And that's like, ooh, I hate that, you know?
Yeah.
But then if you think about putting into your product price, and this is something I had to learn the hard way, right? If I were to hire an assistant, just plan that ahead if you truly want to make this your full-time income. Because I know most people do this part-time, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
So that way, when you do have a rush, you can hire someone, maybe your niece or your neighbor or whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So next question is, what is your favorite thing to make? For me, it's paper crafts with Cricut. I just love paper crafts. What about you guys?
I'm the same. I love anything to do with paper, but I prefer to do sort of smaller things that aren't too technical. So I stick to sort of mini scrapbooks and cards and things like that. But it's more for fun now, so I enjoy it even more now.
Paper
Cool. Cool.
crafts. That has been the longest. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, I was like, I need a break. I need to just craft. I started making all kinds of 3D crafts, you know?
Wow. That is
Yeah.
so
And I went
pretty.
on this kick, and I was just cranking stuff out. I made like 5 different paper crafts. Why? Just because. Because when you start making stuff,
Switch off.
it just triggers my creative mind, and
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
Yeah.
So paper crafts, because it's inexpensive. Everybody usually have
Mm.
access to some kind of paper, and it's fun.
Yeah. And
Yep.
that's true. That's
So
true about what you said about when you create, you do start to get more ideas. The more you create, the more
fun.
inspiration you get. So, yeah, that's true.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ecuador.
Another question. To start at a local store, do you need license or official business first?
No, I didn't need to. Not in the UK. No, I didn't need any official paperwork or anything. We just had an agreement between me and the store holder, and it was all completely legal. So, yeah, I was just registered as self-employed, and obviously I was working as well. But then once I left my job, I just went full-time self-employed. So, no, I didn't need any license or anything. But I was only selling things that obviously, can't endanger anyone or anything like that. They were just sort of handmade crafts. So it might be different if you're selling other things, but no, I didn't need anything.
It depends, it depends
Mm.
for everyone. I knew for me, if I got a business license, I can get things wholesale without having to pay that sales tax. Now I'm in a state where I don't have to pay sales tax. So yay. Things are
Mm.
cheaper for me to buy now. I don't have to even need a license. And to start out, you may be able to, and it depends on everyone and because there's people here from all over the world. So it's kind of hard to know
Mm.
what your local
Yeah.
laws say. We're not attorneys. Um, and again, it depended on the state. And I know in Pennsylvania is like there's layers and layers because that's where I moved from. There's state, right? There's state taxes, federal taxes, and then there's might be a local tax. So it depends. And the best advice, if you're living in the United States, because I don't know about the rest of the world, every state or in every town, usually there's like a department for business and licensing. And if you're saying, look, I'm thinking about starting a new business, they will flood you with all kinds of information, loan, mentorships, things like that. So use them as a resource, use them as a resource because there's a ton of information. I've learned a lot from them, and it's all like free. And if I wanted to, like every week, they send me workshop updates and, hey, we have this new grant for this type of product. So for example, I know you do wholesale. So if you decide to do wholesale in another country, there's a whole grant. They'll give you money for that. There's your startup that could help for your startup costs. So And if you do want to get a license, if it makes sense, talk to a tax accountant. I did that to decide if I should be sole proprietor or like you said, an independent person, just doing a not needing a license, or if I needed a corporation or things like that. And as you start scaling up, you may need to change it. And so you start off in one, like a sole proprietor, then you decide to do an LLC, then you decide to do an S corp, and whatever you decide, But that's when you're making a lot of money, right? So you just find out first. Number one, talk to a tax accountant, because they may know, right? They may know exactly what that makes sense. And find out in your local township, and that could just be a call or going online to their website, and they'll find out if you need anything. You may not. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Couple of questions left, and we just have 7 minutes. So if you guys have some last minute questions, drop them below. Is it easy to do things in bulk and send out?
Is it easy to do in bulk and send out? Is that what they say? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, if you're making bulk cards, right? If you're making 100 cards, it's going to be easy, because you just cut out
I'm not sure what send out means.
Probably mailing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, it is. When you're doing, I actually loved creating in bulk, because like you say, it's so much easier. You're just making the same thing over and over again. And once you sort of got your little production line set up, one thing I did used to do was create, if there was a lot of components involved, I'd do one bit at a time and then sort of put it together. But yeah, I find it so much easier than creating unique items each time, and then shipping. Yeah, it was quite straightforward. It was easy. Yeah, especially
Awesome.
when you know if you create the same items sort of regularly, then you find the shipping part a lot easier, because you know roughly what sort of size the package needs to be, and the cost roughly. So yeah. I prefer it to, individual.
Cool. Awesome. So I think we don't have any more questions.
A lot of great
so far.
questions.
Yeah,
Pardon?
really good.
A lot of great questions.
Yeah. I love this session. It's everyone is so engaging in the comment section. So awesome. So we have 5 minutes left. Any last minute questions, just pop them in the comment section. I found this session really, really helpful. The experts have shared some amazing tips and knowledge about selling and creating handmade crafts. I think this is a new question. Once you create in bulk, I would find it hard for space to keep it organized. What do you do to keep it safe?
Well, I would normally just ship it as soon as it was created. I would ship it, because then I know it's on its way. If there was going to be a little bit of a delay between creating it and shipping it, then I would store it upstairs, away from any liquids, and somewhere in a cupboard where it can't get damaged or wet or anything like that. But yes, I usually would ship it literally the next day. Just to make sure that obviously it keeps your customers happy, but then I don't need to worry that anything could happen, because that was a big fear of mine. When you spend all that time working on something and then for it to get ruined, you're going to lose money and your customer's going to be unhappy, because then it's all delayed. And yeah, so just ship it out as soon as you can.
It's true. When you do buy in bulk, it takes up space. I agree. And some items take more space than others, right? Greeting cards take less time, but you have to organize it very well by category, seasons, etc., right? T-shirts take a lot of space too, and tumblers. Oh my goodness. You need a dedicated area or space, right? Right now I've downsized, so I have storage units and shelves, and I still have to reorganize. So making sure you have a very good organizational system so you can easily find stuff that you need. And another thing you might, another trick would be just having seasonal items. So if you're selling t-shirts, maybe just have stuff that you know you're going to need for this season, like short sleeve shirts for Mother's Day, or short sleeve shirts for graduation theme, or those kind of, that kind of idea. And then anything that any other colors or things that don't make sense, you're not going to need your Halloween stuff now, right? Put that away, store that away somewhere you're not going to need it right away. And but you do need a system. And I would say go online on YouTube, because I found a lot of great tips from people who sell, like on eBay, like they sell lots of little one item things, and they have an interesting system. And I found that really interesting and helpful.
Cool. Wonderful advice. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. And people are loving the all those tips and stuff. Lots of thank yous in the comment section. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Lots of appreciation for the advice and tips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and we have reached the end of our session. Thank you so much, experts, for joining this session. It was so wonderful to have you guys here. Make sure you follow these wonderful ladies who are sharing so much knowledge with so much generosity right here for you guys. So please share your social medias and where we can find you, Frances.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I say the fastest and easiest way is go to Linktree. Linktree at Frances Ames, but my website is francisames.com. So that's if you go to Linktree, it has all my social media. But if you go to francisames.com, that's my direct website. But YouTube, please follow me on YouTube so you can get some tutorials, and join my Facebook group, Crafty Entrepreneurs, because I give away free files and
Yay.
do lives twice a month. So, okay.
Cool. And let me just look for your website link, and I'll drop it in the comment section so everybody can visit the website right now. Rosey, go ahead.
Yes, I'm currently building my new website, so that's not quite ready yet. But my Instagram is Rosey Willis Coaching, and I've also started a YouTube channel with the same name. And I have a free Facebook group. I've just changed the name actually. The Creative Side Hustle Society, and I'll probably maybe drop the link. Is that possible? But I share free clip art in there, free resources, how to start and grow a creative business. So there's a whole library of clip art and tools and stuff like that in there. So I'll pop it in there if I can. But
awesome. And feel free, you guys, to experts, Frances and Rosey, to go into the group and share your website link and introduce yourself so everybody can give you a follow and connect with you outside the summit. Awesome. So I've also shared the links in the comment section. I hope you guys can see it, and those who are watching the replay as well. Cool. So thank you so much, guys, for joining today. And we'll have another session tomorrow with some new experts. So stay tuned. It's going to be as awesome as this one. So make sure you join us. Bye-bye.
Bye.